It's been very quiet here at Glendale TAFE the last few weeks.
I say it's sure quiet around here. You can hear a caterpillar sneaking across a moss bed in tennis shoes.
You tell them, Foggy.
You gotta keep on your toes. Toes, that is.
Oh, Foggy, what are you going on about? I suppose he's got it right. I'm going to get on my toes. I'm going to have a look at those mountains up there. Pretty spectacular. Can you see those? I think I'll go and have a closer look.
Whoa, I made it. I'm up here. It's beautiful up here, guys. Up here is to just talk about the next assignment. The CHCCOM001 provide first point of contact, very similar to the communication subject that Jim and I did. A few little differences. In summary, we'll approach it that you've done a lot of the role plays. If everyone's done all the role plays from the first communication, COM005, I think at this point, Maria and I have had a chat, and I'm happy that we just count, if you've done all those role plays, that's happy that, we'll count those role plays as being completed for COM001. Provide first point of contact. COM001 is about that, as it states. You're the worker and you're the first point of contact when a person or a client comes to the service, so you're the initial contact point. So the communication skills are very focused on that engagement and active listening, building rapport, and listening to someone's story. That's the real focus. So COM001, as I said, first point of contact, it talks about doing 3 different forms and assessing 3 different people. When they say different ages, cultural backgrounds, gender, disability or ability, 3 scenarios, and the way that we'll approach it for each scenario will get you to complete the paperwork based on the scenarios without having to actually do the actual role play. But let's go to the paperwork. So scenario 1, as a young person, I think they're in year 9 and they're dealing with social media problems, and that's impacting on their mental health and their willingness to go to school. I think they haven't been at school, really impacting them, and they decide to go and talk to a local youth worker, which is the worker, would be the role that you'd be undertaking, and so that obviously that initial engagement and assessment to see what's going on. And the form is it's a call or case management summary form. So it's a record of that initial contact and what the client wants and what perhaps the referral points could be. So off the top of my head, a place like Headspace would be appropriate in this instance, I would imagine, as a referral point. It's actually quite tiring flying around up here. I might come in for a landing, actually. Here's a good spot. Whoa, that's better. It's really hard flying. I haven't done it since I was about 5 or 6. And that was in a dream, so that's probably the first time I've actually flown. Nevertheless, where was I up to? Yes, scenario 1, so the case management plan. Scenario 2 is 2 and 3 are quite similar to some stuff you've done in the other unit as well, but it's a little bit of some slight differences. Scenario 2 is a home visit. 2 workers, an experienced worker, similar to what we did before, in that the experienced worker leaves you as the new worker to engage with the client in the home visit, and the home visit is around doing some exercise program with an older client called Mary. There's actually a YouTube video on this one that you can look at. I'll send you the link. There's some, issues around the client, Mary, not really wanting to do the exercise program, really feeling that it's not helping her, it's causing her grief or pain and things like that. So that's what you write up, and the form's a progress notes form. So you did a progress notes previously, but it won't hurt to do another one. They're not a long document as such, and I do have a YouTube video now as well to help you write progress notes. So we're capturing what Mary wants in place of doing the home visit exercise. She's got some ideas around doing stuff in the water, I think, from memory. 3rd scenario, Steve, I believe, 26-year-old, had an acquired brain injury. So again, there's some similarities, a bit like your home visit you did before, but it is a little bit different. You're going by, it's actually not a home visit. You're working for an organisation that works specifically with people who have had an acquired brain injury. So your role is like a recreation support worker. Steve's coming to have that conversation, that initial first point of contact with you, that conversation to, see what the service can offer or provide him, and some things going on for him. 26, he's lost his previous life in a sense, in terms of having a job as a carpenter, being active as a surfer, cultural stuff. I think Aboriginal dance was something he'd done, but I guess since the recovery, so it's been a year down the track from memory. I think there's self-medication stuff going on around smoking, a fair bit of marijuana from memory. Form is a service assessment form. And I guess part of that is looking at Steve, the client's, look at his strengths. So it's not just, the things that are in his way, but what are his strengths that you would pick up from that conversation that you would have as the worker in that instance. So, and as well as the strengths, what are some of the challenges, and making an assessment around what the service could provide. And so I guess a good service to look at in this instance would be a place like Head Start, works specifically with acquired brain injury and does a lot of that community activities, recreation, participation, linking people into, I guess, doing stuff, which could include, I guess in Steve's case, there would be things like there's a surfer, it's called Disabled Surfers, I believe, I don't, not necessarily the best name. Sailability might be something worth investigating, street soccer, so looking at, some activities that can get him back participating, getting his health up, and maybe, getting him out of the house, for example. Might be some of the things you look at, strengths, and some of what might be some of the challenges in that conversation. So obviously, we're not doing the role plays, we might talk about them. Maybe you could try them out at home with somebody if you'd coerce them, but I just a simple recap on those important initial interview guidelines. So the introduction and rapport building, things like introducing yourself, the service that you work for, a little bit about that, so that's clear. The client's name, if you don't know up front, find out, ask them and use the client's name. A little bit of that initial chit chat, so you know all this, but it's just a reminder. And Maria's got a really good handout on this that I've noticed as well. A little bit of chit chat, how'd you get here, travel on the bus, would you like a drink, tea, coffee, etc. Before you get right into it, remember the confidentiality. So, working out a spiel about, we'll keep all this private except if you tell me about, you're going to harm yourself or someone else is being harmed, or, about a serious crime. Then we need to talk, get some support, talk to someone else, get some extra support. Is that okay? Do you understand? Checking that in. Starting the discussion, a good open question. So things like, okay, could you just tell me what's been going on for you, or what's been going on, what's brought you in here today? Some sort of open questions. So we know the difference between open and closed questions. All those engagement skills, the eye contact, the nodding, the minimal encourages, things like yes, etc. Relaxed body position, so sitting somewhere private, I guess, would be, and certainly in that first point of contact, you don't want to be out in the foyer, but you want to be, have a good space, a private space, but you can be relaxed, comfy chairs. Remember the spacing and the angles and all that sort of stuff, so that you're not, directly on. Listening, occasionally, you might need to paraphrase just to check that you're hearing the story correctly, so that's putting it back, not just parroting, but just checking in that you've got it, putting it back what the client's been telling you in your own words. Using the empathy, that really helps build that connection, so acknowledging where someone's at, what they're experiencing, so naming that emotion, whether it's frustration or anger or sadness, if you can name that emotion, and empathy is a good way of helping build that rapport. Open and closed questions. Sometimes it's important to have a closed question, so to get straight to the, what you need to know. So, do you feel safe to go home? Yes or no? But the open questions are obviously very important to keep people talking and explaining their situation. Towards the end, to summarise, this is what's the main points, this is what we've spoken about, and this is what we look at what we might be able to do, or some of the referral points, and always checking in if that's okay, if that's what the client wants, are they happy to go with that, and, release of information. When we talk about these forms that we're getting you to do, I guess all agencies are going to have maybe slight variations perhaps on forms, but we've got to have 3 different forms for this assignment to meet the learning requirements. So, if you're out there working, there might be slight variations or totally different forms, but the skills of writing, which is a part of this unit, those writing skills about being, non-judgmental, concise, not putting your own personal biases, so language that's just accurate, is important. So that, as I said, there's a YouTube video on writing the progress notes. I guess in terms of taking notes when you're working with clients, just checking that it's okay, that permission, is it okay if I take notes? And for me, that balance between having that good conversation, engaging conversation, and taking notes, the notes could get in the way if you're constantly, focusing on trying to fill out forms. So there's a downside of having big, lengthy forms to fill in as well. So trying to get that balance. I know you've got to do what the organisation wants, but that balance between engagement and hearing a person's story and getting that accurately and keeping the notes. So sometimes, a bit of a fine line between how much writing you do in front of people, getting the basics and maybe adding bits and pieces later. Did I mention, just that open body language, the eye contact, leaning relaxed, at the end of the summary. Okay, so that's just a quick snapshot, but we've certainly got some handouts that you can that will help you with that. So just in summary from me, so the 3 different scenarios I've just been through, 3 different forms will get you to do. We won't watch you do the role plays. If you get a chance to practice them with someone, that would be great. There are some similarities with the Communication 005. For me, the important skills, engage with people and hear their story and make them feel relaxed, and being all those things, around active listening and using empathy to being non-judgmental. So all of that's really important. It's most important, I believe, in this industry. We're making allowances for the current situation. I believe if you've done all the interviews, all the role plays with COM005, we're happy to mark you off. So for everyone that's done those 3 role plays previously, we'll mark you off for the role plays. For people that may not have finished all those role plays, there might be 1 or 2, I'm not sure off the top of my head, we'll negotiate and work that through. How we approach that. So that will be with some individual conversations. Hope you enjoyed the outing today. He's discovered my old skill of flying, taking you up into the beautiful Waddicans, and we'll hope you've had a good day, and I'll say turtle pips!